Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review for what episode are we at? 14, 15, 16? We're at 17. Episode 17 of Tensei Shitara Slime Dataken. Hopefully I'm not wrong. For some reason I didn't put the episode number in my notes right here, but I believe we're on 17. Either way, I'll fix it in editing if we're not. But yeah. So either way, let's talk about the actual episode. It kind of went like a normal episode of this show goes, where it's not like, okay, this episode's about this episode's about this. No, we just kind of continued on the story from where we left off. And one thing that was good about this one in particular is that we spent some time building up the world, making the world that this is set in larger within our scopes. So all of that was good, but let's just talk about it part by part. So, starting off, we see the guys from the beginning discussing Tempest, Fuse, and the other guy. And Fuse is like, well, I need to meet and judge him myself. So, we cut from there. We see Gabiru-sama and his little lizard bros. I love them. They're my favorite. With Kaijin and Rimuru and Vesta within Vesta's lab. We learned that they have a communication crystal set up to connect them to Dworgen so they can talk back and forth, which is very, very useful. And we get the explanation of a full potion and a high potion and that 1% difference there. Rimuru says, we could sell this for funds, but Kaijin brings up the good point that this isn't really something we should be using day to day. For like small injuries. This is like a life or death potion pretty much. So they come up with the idea that they can produce and sell low potions, and that gives them a place in the economy, while at the same time they will get the ingredients for them from Dworgen, so that way that they both are contributing and both are profiting off of the agreement. So that's really, really good. We see this guy who attacked Rigurd and then just got taken out by Milium. Milium was so good. Last episode, I was like, okay, Milium's okay, whatever. This episode, I really, really liked Milium. But the guy works for Carrion, who we learned last episode, I think, is one of the Demon Lords, is when we saw Carrion and all the Demon Lords meeting or whatever, or at least those four meeting. He mentions he works for the Animal King, so I'm assuming that's Carrion's official title, which is really, really cool because we see some furries with him, so they're going to be like the furry army or something, which is really cool. I always love furry races and fantasy worlds and stuff like that. Milium being quiet during the meeting was so good, where she's like, oh yeah, I'll be quiet now, and she's like whispering what she says. It was so good. And then her being tricked by Rimuru afterward because nothing's more important than your bestie. It was all so good. Then we get our commercial break, and coming back from that is when we see the world map and learn a bit about the countries and what they're doing around Tempest, which was good. We learn about the Kingdom of Falmouth. We already knew about Blumend and, of course, Dworgen. But we learn about Falmouth and Yom, who was hired by them and sent to learn about the Orc Lord with a scouting party and all that. The two other important members of Yom's group appear to be Kajir and Rommel, I believe they said their names were. Gobta finds them, though, and takes out the Night Spider, and that sort of brings Fuse and the Adventurers group all together with Yom's group and leads them all to Tempest. But one thing I loved was how even with Fuse, who's supposed to be like the big guy in charge of the guild or whatever, we have the useless little people that were everyone's friends. I love them. And they were still pretty useless. I love it. So once they're all together, Rimuru and Vesta tell Fuse and Yom about the treaty and all of that, and Rimuru comes up with the idea of Yom taking credit for defeating the Orc Lord, because it makes a lot of sense. If word went around that he defeated the Orc Lord, it would be like, who is this mysterious country of monsters that were able to take out the Orc Lord? But instead of that, which might make other countries fear them, they can say, oh, Yom defeated the Orc Lord with his band of heroes, and they'd be branded as heroes, and they can say, oh, but this country of monsters helped us out, which makes them seem a lot more friendly and a lot less threatening and mysterious. So it's actually a really, really smart plan that I like a lot. Yon then explains to Rimuru, though, that he and his men were just gonna desert, take off with the money, and run to a safe nation. So because of that, and because of the chance that Rimuru's given him, he decides to work for Rimuru. And of course they all start training under Hakuro then. From there we get to see Clayman again. I believe that's the Demon Lord who looks like this guy. And we're first introduced to the concept of the Moderate Harlequin Alliance, who I guess that would be Clayman's men, the people that we saw like Laplas that wear the Harlequin masks. We meet Tyr, we get the name drop for Mulan, and they say that they need to investigate Milim and what's going on with what they're doing. But Tyr says that they've been spying on Freya apparently, and Freya has no interest in what's going on in Jura because they're occupied with something else, like they're gearing up for war. And they mentioned that Charybdis will be revived soon. They name drop Footmen, and then Tyr is sent off to see if they can tame Charybdis. So again, from the opening, we can assume that that's going to be the next big thing, is that the Moderate Harlequin Alliance is going to possibly take over Charybdis, or maybe it's just going to run rampant, and either way it's going to go at Tempest and they're going to have to band together to defeat it or whatever, and possibly also defeat Clayman and his lackeys. But either way, yeah, I thought it was a good episode. I thought that it's kind of just how this show is. Every episode, it was a normal episode for this show. I love the characters, and that's what drives the show for me, is I love the relationships between all the characters and the characters themselves. Getting to see a lot of side characters, I always love that. So yeah, I'd give it 8 larger worlds out of 10. Just a good, enjoyable, normal episode. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like if you did like the video, comment down there to tell me what you thought of this episode, what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for more. Tensei Shitara Slime again, so much more on the channel when it comes to anime, manga, light novels, and etc. Much more. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, follow on Twitter if you want. I'll try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. And if you want a link to our Discord server to talk to me or more of us about this series or anything else, then just ask and I can give you a link to the Discord server. So yeah, that's it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.